Okay, we are good. Okay, thanks for waiting. And okay, oh, it looks like I am in the study, and it looks like you have the first round game.
Yeah, I mean, I know you have the first two rounds on the channel now. I mean, you just posted the second round game. Is that right?
Yeah, I posted it like a couple hours ago. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But well, I saw both games. I thought the first one was very rich. The second one
Oh,
you
really?
won pretty comfortably. Um,
I thought the first one was kind of boring.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I thought not much happened. It was pretty dull and boring, and then I just blundered. That's what it felt like to me.
it was maneuvery,
Hmm.
but I'm interested in some of the evaluations you made during this game, and I want to make some comparisons to other IQPs. Um, where I mean, the problem you had in this game is that you didn't have much pressure over d5, so your opponent kind of had a free hand. You were fine because there weren't that many pieces on the board, but normally in IQP structures, you want to have some kind of pressure over the IQP, or else your opponent just gets a free hand to, well, organize his attack, or at least his pieces in an active way. And it gets increasingly harder to do something about it. But for the most part, you were just fine. I mean, well, to put some context to it for the viewers, though I'm sure you've all seen the YouTube recap that Tyler did. Well, the thing is, he was playing a very underrated opponent, like extremely underrated. What was his rating over Lichess? You said
20,
like
2250, yeah, 2250 bullet. But
yeah, and he was
that's kind of normal though.
1300.
That's kind of normal though for here, like 1300 over the board, 2100, 2200 online. It's not unusual.
My God. Okay. He was a kid, I assume.
No, well, I if I had to guess, maybe maybe 14 or 15, maybe 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So still making quick progress. um, yeah, those are tough opponents. But I think you played pretty well. I mean, you weren't in bad shape at any point, really. So you played your usual Tarash.
Yeah, the more I play it, the more I am thinking about switching to knight c3, but it's so hard to switch
Oh,
on move 3 like that.
the winner.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. But it's just that objectively, especially against c5 in this line, black is completely fine. Like black has basically full equality, and yeah, I don't know. I've it's been hard for me to get advantageous positions out of this, but as I say, I don't know if I'll ever switch, just because that's a big opening to learn to switch to knight c3.
Yeah, I mean, you might want to use each for different kind of opponents. I mean, I think this opening choice was particularly good against a young player who's probably I mean, they tend to be very quick at calculating stuff. So leaving this to an IQP position where at least a couple of pieces are being traded off, it's fine. I mean, even though and the problem with this IQP you're playing against is that with the knight on d2, it's actually hard to put pressure on d5. That's maybe the main feature of this particular line. But at the same time, he doesn't have as many pieces, so he has to rely on piece activity, but he can't really make an attack work. I mean, even if it did during the game, um, normally black has less resources than usual, and well, in other IQP structures where you have more pieces and you play like with the battery, trying to provoke g3. For example, when black plays the Semetarash and he gets an IQP, it's a bit more aggressive than this one. Here you're already trading off a couple of pieces. And yeah, it's not the most active IQP ever. Here you said that you spent about 7 minutes on this move. You're hesitating because you didn't remember if black could capture back with the knight after d takes knight takes c5.
Yeah, I was just
Which
kind
makes
of
sense.
I was just kind of second guessing myself because usually in these positions, I only the bishop can recapture on c5, and so I just kind of hesitated here for a bit, like, wait, I don't remember that black had the option of taking back with the knight, and then so I just that gave me some pause a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in this case, he won't be able to take with the bishop, and he gets you get the check in. Well,
this is fine.
Go back.
I think.
Yeah, it's a sketch if he goes back to b2.
Yeah. Yeah, because often in those other lines, black can play bishop e6 when it hasn't been traded off. Yeah, so usually that continues with knight b3. So this is this is slightly different with the knight on d7.
Yeah, in this case he has to take with the knight. Yeah, going back here, queen e2. Yeah, feels unnecessary. I mean, he needs to do something like this. I don't know if he has the time to do it, like knight.
But then we might even have knight g5 after, or knight, or knight d4.
Yeah, knight d4, and you're threatening this probably. Yeah, at least very unnecessary from black's point of view. So yeah, do you have any alternatives in mind here? What would you play if it's not d takes c?
So sorry, if not.
If not d takes c right now.
Well, I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, I was happy with d takes c.
Yeah, no, but you said you were second guessing. You didn't have any alternatives in mind?
No. I wasn't. I didn't have any alternatives in mind. I was just thinking. That normally, you can see when I do arrows, right, on the screen, or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking that because almost all usually in these positions, black can only recapture with the bishop. But then I was wondering, wait, I don't remember that black can actually recapture with the knight. And so, because there's these, like, if I go back,
so you're trying to figure out how that goes.
Well, yeah, because there's I think there's like a knight c6 line, which is similar, like something like this. Whoops, I didn't mean to scroll here. Something like this, and then, I think black usually takes. There's positions like this where black can only recapture with the bishop. So I just was trying to recognize the differences. Yeah, I was not considering anything other than taking, but I just wanted to be careful. So that's all.
Okay. So you determined that he had to recapture with the knight. And you played typical fashion, you're going after d4.
Yeah.
Well, the main move, interestingly, is knight c4, which is, well, maybe a bit more principle for him because he retains more minor pieces. I mean, him having an IQP, well, this is probably more justified. He's keeping a couple more pieces. It's not a great IQP to launch an attack on the king side, but his idea might not be necessarily that. I mean, he's happy if he can draw one weakness out of you, like h3 or g3, to kind of compensate for this. But this is a position where you're relying on blockading this pawn, and you will have to be patient to attack it. In the game, you kind of manage to get an knight to e3 to put pressure on it. But even though black has no prospects of launching a huge attack or anything, he does have a pretty safe IQP in that it's hard for you, or at least it takes time for you to put some real pressure on it. Contrary to the lines where instead of a C pawn you have pawn E3 typically and a knight on C3, where you're always taking a look at that pawn and kind of tying black's pieces down a little bit to the pawn. This is a bit different with the C pawn. It's a bit harder to put pressure on D5, but at the same time, it feels like your king is a bit safer. So I guess it's a fair trade-off. I mean, this should be fine for both. Though here, well, you mentioned knight takes C5 followed by bishop G5, which seems like a very safe approach.
Mm-hmm.
And you consider that queen this after bishop G5 queen D6 was fine, and you stopped right there.
Yeah, I stopped one move too early. But even without that, like even without the bishop G5 line, the problem is that I went for comfort. I went for familiarity instead of what my brain was telling me of just keep trading. Just keep trading, take on C5. That's one less piece, one fewer piece for black. That isolated pawn just becomes more highlighted as a weakness. And so, I mean, it was a strong consideration. I was thinking about it, but then, yeah, in the end, decided to go with knight bd4 just because it is thematic. And I think objectively it was fine. It might have been like a 10, possibly 20 centipawn difference between the two moves, but still, I think the more logical move really is to take on c5.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty safe, and you still have some winning chances, which is nice. I think the follow-up is pretty important, or else black might activate with 94, and it can be a bit annoying. But bishop g5, I mean, this is just very dry.
Yeah.
And it's not to black's favor, really. I mean, whenever you can, you're going to take here, and yeah, it looks like an uphill battle. Maybe he has to get out of here because, well, queen d6 fails to what?
Well, I just take the knight. So bishop f6, queen f6, and then queen d5, and I'm on his bishop. So I saw this. I saw queen b2, but I just forgot that his bishop was hanging here. Yeah, it was just a.
Yeah, that this was actually a threat.
Yeah.
True. So I guess something like rook c8 or bishop b6 is required. But then, well, this is great. I mean, you can play queen d3 and start piling up on that pawn, I guess. I mean, as soon as he moves the queen, you're just going to take, of course. I mean, sorry, the difference is this time if you go after this immediately, black can counterpunch here, and c2 is also kind of weak.
I might have followed up there with c3 instead of queen d3.
Okay, yeah, it's reasonable. It's totally reasonable. It would actually be threatening to.
I like that I fix his pawn on d5 so he can't push it, and then I deal with any rook c8 threats. And then I don't know. I'm used to playing c3 in this position. It's just very versatile, and the queen can go to b3 if it needs to, or a4, queen c2. I think
actually here you're just threatening to win the pawn, and that's it. But if that means that black has to play a passive move like bishop e7, then this is definitely interesting. In fact, I took a look at the database, and there's a game here, Talbenko. There are even games there are even some high-profile games. There's also a game by Bachir Lagrave when he was way younger, like he was 2400 or so, where black plays d4. I mean, this is a way to try to deal with the weakness of the pawn, but then this is really comfortable. You're the only one putting pressure on the pawn. At any point, you might just take, and you can't be worse. Like, he has to be the one playing the accurate moves, like h6. Well, I don't know if you take right now because then he gets the rooks quickly to the center, but you can keep the pressure up here and no, maybe black can hold, but he's the one to be worried about this. I don't think you have a real problem. You can even take and try to round this pawn with your pieces. The bishop is particularly not great because it's bumping into its own pawn. So yeah, black might hold, but you have all the chances, and your opponent has to face an ugly defensive task, I would say. This is still fine. Did you consider knight f to d4?
From what I was like, a lot of my decisions were kind of memory based. I think if you put it into an engine like Depth 49 type of deal, usually either knight is roughly equal in eval, but most of the time I move it with the B knight, just because I like to have the F knight sitting back to help defend my king side, and I don't know. I'm just a bit more used to playing knight BD4 instead of knight FD4.
Yeah, and in this case, I'm just wondering because I mean it looks fine too, but I'm wondering about black's idea of jumping to e4. I mean, clearly he's going for that. So in this case, you're gonna have f3.
Ooh, that's scary though, for me to play f3.
f3, but if you accompany with like bishop f4 and stuff like that, I mean, yeah. I don't know if it's gonna be so terrible.
I don't know. I'm just worried about like queen b6 or bishop c5 later. I'm very hesitant to move that f pawn.
It's a weakness. I mean, he's drawing a weakness from you in that case. It's a trade-off. I mean, you're not allowing this, but it's debatable totally. I mean, it's not necessary to play this way, but I've seen it happen in this line. I mean, like knight f to d4, so you retain the chance of kicking that knight out. You might not even do it immediately, like, for example, knight c4. You could just play something similar to the game, so you don't have to face bishop d6 immediately, but you keep the chance of just pushing that knight back. I mean, you still have a lot of useful moves to get in. Doesn't mean it's better than knight bd4, just an idea to have in mind. Because you're still fine, and this is pretty much okay. I mean, the only reason why you're not much better here, because black really hasn't organized any attack. It doesn't look like he's going to make you move any of these pawns. The only reason you're not much better is that you don't have any pressure on d5. You just set up a passive blockade. I mean, it's good. It's perfect. You don't allow d4. But at the same time, that gives black a free hand to reorganize his pieces in whatever way he likes. So I think that's the reason why you're not much better here. And this is, I don't know if it's equal. I might prefer your position a bit more, but it's objectively fine, I guess, for black. I don't know if you check this with an engine. Is that more or less right?
Yeah. White is like never better in these c5 positions, unless black makes a mistake. Black seriously gets
that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense because it's so hard to put some actual pressure on d5, and you managed. I mean, I'm interested about this eval now, though. You mentioned after h3, which I'm not particularly crazy about.
Yeah. I just didn't want to take risks with knight takes f2. It was unclear to me, and I just didn't want to take risks because he's 1300. And like I looked at the outcomes of it, and it was just, I don't know, it was imbalanced and a bit unclear for me to assess. And I just didn't want to take the risk, even if I was like if I felt 75% chance that I'm better there. Yeah, to me, I didn't want to risk it, so that's why I played h3.
Okay, let's try to evaluate the position after h3, and now he'll have to take. Let's try to evaluate this. What do you think? I mean, I know you think and you know you're better, but why and how much better?
Well, he gives up 2 active minor pieces for a rook and a pawn. So we have, so black is left with like 1 developed piece, you could say, the bishop. And so I have 2 developed knights and a bishop that is somewhat eyeing black's king side. My king is a bit weak, and the dark squares around my king side are a bit weak, but it doesn't make a huge difference or a huge deal because black only has 2 pieces that can really exploit that, his queen and bishop. So yeah, my 2 knights are really great. My queen can help, like my queen and my knights can facilitate an attack on black's king side. But yeah, at the end of it, I don't know, I just got a little bit nervous. Like I saw this position and then I don't know, I didn't want to, it was imbalanced, and I guess I just kind of chickened out of playing into it. And again, I was not wanting to take what I felt as any risk against a lower rated player.
Oh, interesting. But yeah, the thing is, this, well, I don't want to say sacrifice. It's a trade-off. It's an exchange of 2 minor pieces for a rook and a pawn. But they tend not to work in middle games. And, well, the reason is pretty clear. The rooks are like the last pieces to actually become active. So in the middle game, minor pieces play a bigger role. So 2 minor pieces for a rook and a pawn, normally in a position like this, is going to favor the minor pieces. As you mentioned, your minor pieces are excellent, especially these 2 knights that are extremely solid. So if you had to give an evaluation of this position, what do you think?
That's not fair. That's not fair. It's not fair because I know. I remember what the engine said.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Is it a clear advantage? I'm going to guess.
Yeah, you take a guess.
Yeah, I would say like, well, clear advantage is like 1.0, 1.2. I don't know.
Is that your guess? Plus 1?
Yeah, more or less.
No, if I remember correctly, it was about +2, like plus 1.8 to +2. And I think
close to winning.
Yeah, and I think like I looked at a couple lines, and it was even like +4, I think. But yeah, completely favored for white for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's high. I mean, yeah, close to winning then easily with best play, close to winning. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I have to say it makes sense. I mean, what is black gonna do when you just develop the minor pieces? And I mean, the rooks are kind of hopeless. I mean, I thought that the engine might, I don't know, defend better, but yeah, apparently the advantage is overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also happens, for example, E45 openings. You see that many beginners and sometimes intermediate players want to play bishop c4, knight g5, and sacrifice the bishop and the knight on f6. Well, trade, I would say. But it almost always backfires. The minor pieces take over completely. So yeah, you should probably welcome this. Normally, I mean, the rook against 2 minor pieces can compete in an open board in endgames, because the 2 minor pieces need to coordinate very well to stop a rook that's invading. But normally in the middle game, I mean, all things being equal, it's not a great trade for the side that gets the rook.
Yeah, I mean, so everything you said, like I know this, and especially, you know, what you say, I know what you're talking about, like bishop c4, knight f3, and then I totally understand what you're saying. The beginners, they love to take on f7 and trade, and I used to do that myself. I think it's something that all beginners go through. It's a phase.
We've all done it.
Because
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah, it
a
looks very good.
mathematical equation. Okay, 3 plus 3, 5 plus 1, it's equal. But and then you think, yeah, and the king has to move out, so the king is weaker, and the math is equal, so it's a good idea. But yeah, I mean, I understand that the giving up the active minor pieces for the rook, which isn't going to be doing anything anytime soon, and a pawn, yeah, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, I don't know, and maybe I should have reconsidered. I guess I should have reconsidered in the game. I think what really made me fear that it was just the imbalance of the position, and again, I don't know. I think I was really scared because since my opponent was lower rated, that the game might become a little bit complex by doing that. I don't know. I'm not trying to justify my decision. I'm just explaining what my thought process was that made my decision.
I mean, yeah, the good thing is that h3 is not such a terrible weakness. It's something that you might play down the road anyway.
Yeah.
It does limit your choices a little bit. I mean, if somehow at some point you decide you want to kick this knight out, it will be much more difficult to play f3 in the future. I mean, even if you're closing into an endgame, f3 might be tough to arrange. That's the consequence of moving a pawn in front of the king. It's not huge. I mean, it's just it's probably the safest pawn you can push at this point.
I'm going to see how long I spent on that move on h3. Let's see. So this is game 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Oh, I don't have timestamps on this one. Yeah.
No, because it was manually entered. Yeah, it wasn't online.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I guess technically I can add them into ChessBase, but it's a pain. It's too tedious to add in.
Yeah, move by move. No, no, that's great.
I'll do it if it's like if I beat a titled player or something, then I will take the time. Okay.
Every day will go down.
I thought for a long time here. Yeah, I thought for a long time because I was really scared of knight f2. I thought relatively long time, 6 minutes on h3.
So you were really considering all this.
Yeah.
All this stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge problem, especially because in this case, it doesn't look likely that he will organize, for example, the battery. Typically, you put the bishop on c7, the queen on d6, and you threaten stuff here. This is unlikely to happen here. If that would happen, then h3 might be a big problem for you. You would like to play g3 instead. And when you already have played h3, it's much harder to play g3. Well, you notice during the game, the sacrifices here are brutal.
Yeah, or even on f2. Yeah.
On f2, yeah. I mean, g3 and f2, that whole complex is weakened. And if there was a pawn e3, sacrifices on e3 would be a problem with the pawn g3 suddenly. The h2 pawn, at one point might prove to be important to defend g3. But again, it's unlikely to happen here. In fact, he plays a6 to see if he can.
Which I thought was a great decision from him.
Yeah. It's quite typical in these setups. And yeah, it solves a lot of issues if you're going to put the bishop on d6, the queen on c7, or well, the other way around probably. So yeah, it made a lot of sense. But I liked your move too. I mean, you're provoking a lot of its changes, which again tends to favor you. But in this position, I kind of feel like you need to trade at least one more pair of minor pieces, and you'll be totally happy. I mean, as we approach an endgame with only heavy pieces, or a middle game with only heavy pieces. But you're closing into an endgame. The IQP suffers a lot more. There are some really nice examples of this. There's a game, Korchnoi Karpov, where that happens.
This was one of the 2 sections of how to reassess your chess that really resonated with me, that Jeremy Stillman wrote about. And so if you can get all the minor pieces off, and ideally, I think ideally you trade one pair of rooks, and yeah, then the side with the IQP has to basically babysit the pawn. Meanwhile, you can start making progress elsewhere on the board, and I don't know, that really resonated with me. And then you can like take at the opportune moment.
IQP suffers a lot. I mean, for example, if you trade a pair of knights, I mean, no attacking chances are left, and he'll probably be tied down to that d5 pawn, and you will also have more open files to, more room to operate against that pawn also. But it's hard. It's hard to exchange one pair of minor pieces without really going out of your way. I mean, you're not going to play this, of course. So yeah, it's black is probably still fine. I'm not so sure about his minority attack. I mean, it looks extremely slow, but
so if
might be okay.
Did you read my notes? So was I correct that there's not really anything you can really do against a minority attack, right? Like generally, if your opponent is launching one, you can't stop it unless, depending on the position, but generally that they're gonna be able to make that minority attack happen, right?
Yeah, more or less. It really depends. You actually kind of stopped it in this game.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised I found a solution, but it came at a cost because I think then I'm not dealing with the D pawn anymore, because my knight is blockading the pawn, but I'm not attacking the pawn anymore. I'm stopping the minority attack, but then I'm not attacking his IQP.
Yeah, there's a number of ways in which you can try to deal with the minority attack here. Maybe a4. It's kind of risky too because you leave some weak squares, but b5 is strongly discouraged.
Yeah, I considered a4.
I like your move the most, though. I really like this maneuver.
Yeah, I liked my knight maneuvers this game, and game 3 too. Did you see game 3?
No, I didn't get to
even more knight maneuvers in that game. Okay.
I didn't want to do any spoilers.
Okay, yeah,
for the community.
Right. Okay, yeah.
But I'm gonna get to them. I really like this because you do need pressure on this pawn. Otherwise, again, black is gonna do as he pleases. But this is a very good reroute of the knight. I mean, you still have. I mean, sometimes you don't need to physically block the pawn.
You can
just control its advance, and you have it. Yeah.
Who was it that was that Nimzovich, right? That said you control the square in front of the pawn.
Well, yeah, though Nimzovich was all for the blockade.
Yeah.
He also knew how to treat IQPs. Yeah. And I don't know if he actually said this, but yeah, sometimes it's not all too necessary to just put a knight on d4. Actually, in some positions, it's just making your position a little bit passive because you don't have pressure on the pawn, and black is free to do whatever he wants. So having some pressure on it is always good. I mean, it's like tying black down a little bit. And here, I think this is kind of a critical moment. He plays b5. He's going for b4. His minority attack. I mean, he's trying to give, you a weakness too, to kind of compensate for his. Okay, and you thought for 6 minutes after this move, you said here. You didn't know how to deal with the minority attack. You said, I forgot what the side defending against it is supposed to do. I don't think there usually is anything that can be done. Or here you said, I came up with an idea on how to try to deal with it, though. Yeah, maybe you're overly worried. I mean, I don't think...
Yeah, I might have just had a3 even.
You can start with a3 probably. But also, what about hitting this pawn? Like, creating counterplay against that one? How could that be done?
Doubling up, I guess, like maybe like queen d4, and then rook d1.
I really like queen d4. I mean, not only you stop this for a while, you're bringing a rook to d1, and that makes sense. I mean, you're really applying a lot of pressure on this pawn suddenly.
Well, I don't know. I was scared of him like just playing b4. I guess I just take it. Yeah. Well, a5, and then what? Rook d1.
A5.
Rook d1.
Yes. Well, we have to choose one, but I guess the df rook.
Okay. So now b4. That's my fear. So.
Before, can't you just play c4 here? The pin is.
Can't he?
Okay. Probably win the pawn. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember one of the positions the computer suggested something like that. That if black pushes b4, I can play c4. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that c4 is an option. Yeah. But
he can still play something like rook fd8, I guess.
Yeah. Do we have time for rook e3 or rook d3?
Rook d3 and triple up. Or with the queen in front, not ideal, but it's something.
We also might have knight e5. Knight e5 and knight f5 possibly, depending on where he goes.
Yeah, knight e5. Yeah, I guess he has to go here. So
okay.
So he doesn't allow knight f5. I don't know. It looks promising. I like the first move you mentioned. Rook d3 looks very interesting. I mean, suppose he gets here. We're still to determine which pawn is weaker, if the d5 or the c3 pawn. And normally the d5 pawn is easier to attack. Even if he should get to play b takes c. I mean, it looks you're really well armed to attack that pawn on d5. At least this looks extremely logical.
Yeah, and I guess knight c5 doesn't do anything because I just... Well, yeah, what about knight c5?
Here
I guess I can still take on d5 because I'm threatening check.
Oh, sorry. How does
wait, never mind. Never mind. Sorry, I'm wrong. But yeah, so knight c... Oh, no, never mind. Okay, forget it. I didn't see that. I can just take it. Okay. I don't know. I'm very scared. I'm a very scared player. I'm just my style. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So maybe rook d3.
Yeah. Rook d3. You can also consider a3 now.
That's more my style. That's more my style, right? Preventative a3. Very safe.
Yeah. I mean, you know that when he plays b4, you're going to get rid of... both pawns are going to leave the board, so those are two possible weaknesses that are not going to be there anymore. But again, it looks very safe for you. I mean, if anyone should be worried for his pawn, it's probably him.
Yeah, and I have rook a7 maybe.
Yeah, the rooks could become active, like rook a5 attacking the pawn from the side, rook a7, followed by knight e5. It looks like he is the one who has to be extremely careful, not so much in your case. Yeah, there are other ideas. I don't know about b4, taking and pushing the a pawn. That can also be interesting, making a passed a pawn while this is completely blockaded. There are many ways to face his minority attack, which is getting hard to be played, I guess, because he's so tied down to defending this pawn all the time. So I guess you have some advantage here. I don't know if a3 is the move, but it looks very logical, and it just feels promising. But always having some pressure on the pawn seems like the ultimate goal, because if you just blockade it, well, yeah, black gets a free hand to maneuver without being pressured. Like what happened here. This is fine. I mean, and he still can't get rid of the IQP. That's very important. Otherwise, he would just play that, and he might be better because he's a bit more active even.
Yeah, I remember seeing that d4. Like I didn't see it right away, and I really wanted to play knight d3, but then I finally saw, oh, I've got knight f5. So then I was very happy because it made my it made my plan work. Yeah.
And here, I mean, you're totally fine. But at the same time, yeah, it feels like you're not putting any pressure on him. You stop this all together. You blockade both pawns. That's very good. Now what? Oh, I really like your move here, though. Like queen c1, you might
that was
get to.
I was happy to find that. And then my next move as well. I was happy with these two moves and it's not my usual type of move to find these two moves I played. I was pretty happy with finding them.
Did queen c1 have any connection with trying to play queen f4? What do you think of this?
No, well, I think I forget if it was either queen f4 or knight f4. Well, I should have. I think I wrote all about this. Yeah, I there was this, and then I didn't like the knight d2 follow up, because I didn't want knight d2, knight b3, so that's why my next move I play rook d1 to protect against d2.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Well, it might be an improvement. Like queen takes, knight d2, rook fd1, knight c4. It attacks b2.
Well, I even just knight b3. I didn't love knight b3.
Knight b3, rook ab1. I mean, I think you still have some nasty pressure here.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was like terrible for me, but it felt like I could do better, and so that's why I didn't want to even allow knight d2. Yeah. Plus, it just seemed like it just seemed like an interesting move. I'm lined up with his queen, and I have access to f4 now.
Yeah, this is fine, and this is an improved version. But you didn't play queen f4. Did you consider playing queen f4?
Yeah, I definitely did, and because that was my original plan. And then I think I switched ideas because I think I saw a way to attack d5. So I think it was like my plan was knight f4 and then knight e3. So this is what happened in the game. That's why I played g3 later.
Yeah, the g3.
Yeah, because so knight f4 and then so this was my original plan. It was queen f4. But then once my rook was on d1, I'm like, hey, maybe I can attack the d pawn again. So my plan was knight f4 and then my other knight to e3. But then once that happened, then I realized, oh wait, my knight is unprotected on f4, and that's led to a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah, it's hard to organize 93, and if you play g3, it's just too weakening. Yeah, that's a shame. I think you're doing very well here. I mean, if anyone has chances, that's you. I mean, it's changing. It's just a bit sad for him, I guess. These endgames are always terrible to defend. I mean, I can already see you playing this. And you see, in an endgame, it's much more feasible that you actually get to kick that knight out and just play king f2, and the weakness on g3 is not so significant anymore.
Unfortunate, this game.
And if he doesn't trade, he has to play some rather passive move. I don't know which one. Queen d7 or queen e6. Well, queen e6.
Yeah, had he not trade, I don't know. I felt pretty comfortable here because suddenly my queen is active. I still have pressure on the d pawn. I have a lot of pivot points on d4, e3 still.
Yeah, this really feels like it's going your way. You threaten to double up. You're also kind of threatening a4 at some point. Well, this pawn might suffer. I mean, I really want to get to this pawn. Maybe it's a bit too early.
Oh, are you still there? Okay. We disconnected. Oh, are you back?
I think I am.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back now. You cut out for about half a minute there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so I've been going for some time.
Yeah. The last thing you said, the last thing I heard you say was you really want to go after this pawn.
Maybe I meant d5. Yeah, I mean this looks great. This looks great for you. Like 93 here it's gonna be way more difficult to defend. Maybe like rook d7 and. No, I'm already thinking about this and trying to target this pawn. If anyone has a chance here, that's definitely you.
Can I not go rook d4?
Yeah, I did this looks perfectly fine too. I was a bit, I wouldn't say worried, but annoyed by this move.
Yeah, that is annoying. Yeah,
in that if I play rook ad1, knight b3, and rook d3, knight c5 again, and he keeps going back and forth. And I never have time to do anything here.
Yeah.
But still, the pressure is on him. I mean, just look at the pieces. Everyone's pointing at that pawn. I mean, you can try to create a new weakness here.
What about b4?
B4 now.
No. Instead of a4.
You're blundering this one, I think. I mean, I like the concept that this is.
Yeah, I was going to follow up with f3. Could I play f3 and then b4?
Yeah, f3 first. Yeah, you can do this. And knight j3 is not even a thing. You play king f2. Knight c5.
And then b4.
Knight a4. I'm a bit worried about this.
Do I care? Do I take on a5? Maybe not. Maybe not the best. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, knight here.
Yeah.
It's too weakening maybe for this pawn, but I mean, some combination of putting a knight on d4 and playing b4 at the right moment, it's interesting because he fits this pawn as a weakness. But it's taking time.
I wonder if I could have got away there with knight e2 after knight e4, knight e2. No, like f3, f3, knight c5, b4, knight a4, knight e2. And then
the traffic.
Yeah, well,
the file you have.
Yeah, well, king
to
f2.
Be careful about this.
Okay.
And rook here.
Yeah, rook e3.
Yeah, and you lose a piece if rook knight b2 and.
Well,
I don't know if you lose.
No, because we have rook d2. But, yeah. But yeah, the things are slipping there.
Yeah, like you're hanging in there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, stupid knight a4. That's knight a4 is
only
annoying.
Apparently.
Knight a4 is annoying.
Yeah, c3 is a bit weak there, but you can definitely play f3, improve your king. I mean, I'll go for something like this. Well, we gotta stop this. I mean, we don't want to encourage d4 either.
Yeah, the c3 pawn's a real liability. Okay, well, you were thinking a4.
A4. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that because of B4 and then D4. It's kind of messy. Possibility though. But maybe, I mean, thinking about your idea of playing B4 yourself, I mean, maybe now with 92, we intend F3 for like 94, and B4 might be a possibility. You have so many ways to put pressure on this
I
chute.
thought it was the same issue though. Knight C5 to knight A4.
Knight C5.
No, I
Now
mean
maybe you start with knight D4.
no, I mean if you kick it out with F3, your plan of F3.
Oh, so let's say he plays. I don't know, rook B7, rook B8, rook B8. So this one's defended.
Or just something like H5 or A4.
A waiting move.
Yeah. And then if F3, knight C5.
Yeah, so maybe we have to do something at knight D4, attacking this pawn first.
Yeah.
We're leaving.
It's threatening knight C6 too.
We're leaving it there for now. Yeah, there are some things here.
Yeah, this puts some pressure on black.
Yeah, it's tough to defend. I mean, the best case scenario, he gets rid of the IQP at some point and he makes a draw. But I see him suffering, definitely.
Yeah, his knight on F6 is pretty useless too.
Yeah, it's just a defender.
Yeah.
And the idea of pushing that knight is also present. So yeah, there are many active ideas here, but it's changing queens on principle looks fine. If someone's going to suffer, that's probably him, I'll guess. Knight F4 is interesting, but yeah, it unfortunately was kind of clumsy considering that this is not happening.
It was a last minute switch of the plan. Yeah, I had planned queen F4, but then once I had the rook on D1, I thought, oh, maybe I can just immediately target that with this knight E3 continuation. And I just overlooked G5. Completely overlooked it. Didn't even consider it.
Like he could play right now, or well, after G3. After G3.
Yeah.
So he has the... Yeah, well, because you can't play.
I just mean my knight, my whole knight E3 idea. Like, well, yeah, once I protect the knight, I just didn't see G5 can just kick it out. Yeah.
G5 and
just totally missed it. And I think I had time.
Yeah, now you have to switch to something.
Yeah, well, after G3, I mean, I did spend 12 minutes on G3. That's a long time to think. And then I offered a draw.
With G3, yeah.
After G3, I offered a draw, yeah.
And he played king H8.
Yeah, that was the one weird move, which very strange. The only thing that makes sense to me is he wanted to play rook G8 and like G5 and attack straight down the G file. But yeah, pretty strange decision. That was really bizarre.
I think the point was that he was seeing these sacrifices, but he saw that there's queen takes G5 with checkmate. So he wanted to play G5, but when you play queen takes G5, it wouldn't be check. That's what.
Oh, but how
might have gone through.
How do I take, like, where does my knight go?
For example, considering what happened in the game, king H8,
yeah,
king G2, which is actually
the real blunder, yeah.
The move the real move that just loses now. For example, in this case, knight takes G3. This would come with check if the king was here. Maybe that's what he was.
Oh, that has to be it. That has to be it. Yeah, I was trying to wonder. I'm like, what is king H8 about? That's so bizarre. Okay. Yeah, you must be right. So he was already eyeing up this plan when he played king H8.
Yeah, though G5 immediately was strong. Apparently, I mean he's
Yeah, that was the best move. But I remember looking at it like but for White to survive here is not easy. White has to find some important moves. Like first of all, knight e4 or knight d4. But it's not simple.
yeah. I'm threatening this.
Yeah, but even after this, it's
Oh,
not simple for White to hold on.
what's the follow-up here? Queen d7.
Yeah, I forget what the exact move was. Seems to make
Because at
sense
least
though.
I'm eyeing this, and
Yeah, but queen d7 makes sense.
practically it's hard.
Yeah, no, it's very awkward for White.
Yeah, that probably was it. I mean, from a human standpoint, I mean, if he saw that, it kind of makes sense
Yeah.
that you want to get out of that. Though it's a missed chance, probably, because, well, can you play knight g2 and survive here? Probably you can.
Well, no, yeah, well, here I think if I remember correctly, I'm equal. Like I think this is equal. It's just that my next move. Yeah, I think I just played it a little bit too quickly. I mean, the reason I played it is because I was scared of knight f2. I saw it knight f2. Wait, was it? Wait,
So
yeah.
what's the move, like knight d4, so you cover this, or rook d3?
Yeah,
One of
well, I
those.
just didn't see. I didn't see knight g3.
The sacrifice.
Yeah, if you,
Yeah, there are sacrifices
so
all
I
over now.
think
Knight
it.
d2, there's
Yeah, I thought it was. I think it was knight f2 that I was scared of here, and that's why I played king g2.
knight d3. Yeah, but now he's getting 3-2 with the rook, and yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah. Well, because I don't think I was looking at g5. Like if I can just move backwards here, I don't think I can't remember if at this point if I saw
it
g.
wasn't on your radar.
What was it?
It wasn't in your radar, like g5 at all.
I don't think it was. I think I was scared of knight f2, and then no, sorry, like here, like if I oh wait, no, it was this because this was my original plan, right? Knight e3.
Oh,
This was my plan, and then I saw knight f2, and then after takes and
rook takes.
yeah, I think that's why I played king g2. I think that's why, because if
makes sense.
like if he makes some other like random move, and then I play knight e3. Wait, but how's this different? I'm trying to remember, because this is no different.
No, maybe king g2. It's like a general.
No, but
like
I had
a general reaction against these pawns being weak.
Yeah, no, but I'm pretty sure I had a specific reason. Maybe did I see g5? Like I wonder if I saw. No, it doesn't.
And you missed knight takes g3.
I can't. Oh, sorry, I can't. My brain is hazy. I can't remember. But I remember when I played king g2, there was a specific reason behind it. I felt that I had to defend. I had to defend against something. But I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was I don't know. Sorry. Do I not have it in the notes here?
It doesn't say. I mean, King
Okay.
H8, you said that you couldn't explain the move, but then King G2, you said I didn't continue with Knight G2, as I believe I saw Knight. Oh, Knight G2 was the move that you were considering. Knight G2 here.
Oh,
I believe I saw Knight takes
yeah,
F2.
yeah. This might have been it.
So you're worried about the stability of the knight here, clearly, because, well,
Yeah. Oh, it was
if
knight
not, Knight
G2.
G2.
Oh, I changed my. I forget why I changed this. My idea here of not playing knight E3. Yeah, but yeah,
You
that's what it
saw
is. I
Knight
yeah.
takes F2.
But yeah. So I was I think I was looking at knight G2, and then I saw this. Whoops. Yeah, I think that's what it was, and then check.
And then rook E2 and queen takes.
Yeah, or I think I also meant yeah. There was rook here too, but there was also knight E4. I think I was scared of, and then the queen going to G3.
Yeah, but then you queen E3,
Whoops.
and if you stop the attack, you're up a piece.
Yeah, I don't know. I got
I think rook E2.
I got kind of confused here.
Yeah. What is the move though here? Like knight D4, so you stop rook E2, or rook D3, so there are no sacrifices there. Well, I guess this should
Well, the
be more or
problem
less fine if
is
G5.
I didn't see G5. That's the problem. So I didn't even consider any of these other issues.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
This time G5, you might have this, but though there's queen B6 maybe. What a mess! Yeah, queen B6 attacks.
The G3
yeah,
was just terrible. I should have given a
yeah,
lot more
it
pause.
is too weakening for
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm usually not the type of player to weaken my king like
You
that.
don't want to push pawns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're blindsided by the weakness of these pawns.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you thought that you were arranging
Yeah.
these knights, and yeah.
I was too focused on that, and yeah, exactly. Also, I think if we go back just a few moves, like, yeah, also here, I think I started to get a little impatient, if I remember correctly, that I kind of wanted to push, like, make some inroads, and I wasn't so willing to take my time here and just kind of reposition. So I was kind of trying to force matters, yeah, to grab that pawn. I was losing my patience.
Yeah, and at this point, it's actually hard to do something with that knight. It's a problem. And the only thing I can see is going back to D3 and playing queen F4. Although that's probably not necessary, you can think about knight D4 maybe.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, the computer just wanted a boring nothing move.
Just going back to D4 and see what happens, make him play this again, and yeah, keep the imbalances as they are. The position doesn't change that much. Yeah, I mean, you played well. I mean,
there might have been also, I think, rookie.
Guess,
I think rookie 1 was a suggestion too from the computer.
Yeah. Here, rookie 1.
I think so.
Like running into the into the rook that already doubled. Well, could be. But yeah, I mean, as long as you don't play G3, I don't think you have anything to worry about, really.
It was unfortunate.
Yeah, you had a great game. I mean, if anyone could push here, that was probably you. Yeah, this was a bit hasty. Unfortunately, didn't see that you weren't arranging this so easily.
Yeah.
Because the knight on F4 is not as stable. And just playing G3 to make it more stable, well, it backfired badly. Yeah, and there you notice that, I mean, if you had the pawn h2, it might have been a bit easier to play g3, but when you play h3, accompanying it with g3 is very hard. I mean, tactically, it tends to open many doors for your opponent's pieces. There are sacrifices everywhere, and well, black incidentally has very active pieces, so
It shouldn't be this
that
hard
kind
to survive against a 1300, though.
of he's in a real 1300 though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
How much will he be?
I was just going to say he
tournament?
actually did not have a great tournament after this. Believe it or not.
Oh,
I'm going to load it. I'm going to look it up in another window. It'll just take me 20 seconds.
oh my god. He must have added some rating points though.
Okay, what was the last name too? Okay, so he gained about 30 points.
Oh, okay.
or yeah, 27 points, something like that. So he's now 14-15. Yeah, the next round he beat a 1500. No, sorry, he lost to a 1500, and then he lost to another 1500, and then he drew a 1782 in round 4, and who's also underrated. And then he drew a 1500, and then he lost to a 1400. So he finished with 2 out of 6.
So not a great tournament,
No.
and he still added like 30 points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so underrated. Yeah, it's remarkable. Yeah, I mean, within a couple of tournaments, you might see him, I don't know, 1600 already. He clearly plays up for that. I mean, he sees all these tactics. And physically, he managed pretty well. But you did fine in the game. I mean, other than this plan with knight f4 and g3 that loses the thread, I think you were just fine. Maybe you could have focused on putting pressure on d5 earlier, but that's also questionable.
Yeah, there were a couple of little tiny spots where it could have had improvement. Like h3 was not necessary, and in fact, I should have welcomed him to try to take on f2. And earlier, again, minuscule difference, but from a logical point of view, I really should have taken on c5, and I was really considering it, but I didn't do it. But knight takes c5 earlier in the opening. Just trading
those little decisions that might just change the course of the game completely.
Yeah.
And even so, the real thing that loses the game here is this idea of pushing the pawn. I mean, other than that, even here, I do prefer your position. I have to keep playing from here. I don't know. I'll play knight d4, go back to d3,
and then queen f4.
I can play a million moves here, but I still take white. I mean, I know it was very maneuvery, maybe not the most exciting game ever, but there were still some interesting details. And I was interested in that strategical struggle. I mean, the fact that putting pressure on the pawn is kind of important. I mean, it's even more true when there are more pieces on the board. You might have seen this game. I mean, this is a classic when it comes to attacking with the IQP. I don't know if it rings a bell. Kim versus Miles.
I don't know my games too well of other players, so maybe I'll recognize the game when I see it, but it doesn't ring a bell yet.
Okay, let's take a quick look. In this case, it's going to be an IQP stemming from the Scimitarz. Here, it's fine because anyone can pick up the IQP. I mean, if black takes, you take, and you're the one who's going to get the IQP. And it can happen for black too, like c takes, pawn takes. Actually, white takes, and if black takes with the e pawn, then these two are almost sure to get exchanged, and black will have the IQP on d5. But black took with the knight. And it's white who's going to assume the IQP in this game. It's a matter of choice, really, for both. C takes D. E takes D. Bishop E7. And both sides castles. And this is pretty typical. Rook to the semi-open file, supporting the outpost. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary here. And now black plays knight back to f6. I mean, the knight is on a good blockading square and all, but at the same time, it's blocking the queen to attack the pawn. And even though you're not really threatening the pawn after knight f6, because knight takes, queen takes, you just lose the queen to discover attack tricks. We are controlling d5 indirectly with the knight on f6 and pawn e6. And we're having look on the pawn. So it's not so easy to just organize the pieces with queen e2, for example, because knight takes e4 is always a problem. It's not the only way, though. I mean, black can also try to attack the pawn directly with bishop f6, which kind of follows the principle that having an eye on the IQP is always good. But this is still fine. Bishop g5. Now black should develop probably somehow with b6, for example, intending bishop e7, adding more pieces to the control of d5. And well, white typically, I don't know if you're familiar with this plan, but it's similar to what we've said. It's useful to avoid this kind of stuff because now you can build up the battery. Trying to provoke weaknesses doesn't mean that you're going to checkmate black or anything, but this plan makes a lot of sense. So we make him play g6 and he gets some weaknesses on dark squares that we can try to exploit and more or less compensate for the long-term weakness of the IQP with weaknesses around black's king. It's how it typically goes. But black played knight b4. What do you think about this approach? Where is that knight heading? Why?
Well, it's like a roundabout way of going to d5. So like bishop b1 and then knight b d5.
It is, and it seems to make a lot of sense. But at the same time, it's a full blockade. It's impossible to get d5 in, as it's normally a theme in many IQP situations. But at the same time, where's the pressure here? And that's kind of what became a problem for black in this game. He played b6 first, 95, and the problem is that you abandon some key squares also. I mean, the knight on c6 controls this, and well, 95 is very hard to get in if the pawn is attacked. But here, white has a free hand to do whatever he pleases, and that's the main issue. I mean, if you go knight b d5, I guess queen d3 is kind of annoying, like threatening this, or knight takes d5, followed bishop takes f6. And again, no pressure on d4 means that we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, I would think.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was saying even possibly queen f3 even.
Instead of queen d3,
yeah,
queen f3 here.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm missing something. I mean, we're both missing something. I think knight c6 has to be terrible. He can't allow the trade of this bishop. Think so, at least. Yeah, like queen d6, we take and he can't take with the queen because both the knight and the pawn will be pinned. So he has to take with the knight.
No, this
but
is garbage.
That's looking
Yeah.
sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, something went wrong here. So, well, knight bd5 is still
So bishop
not
b7.
possible. He
Yeah.
has to play bishop b7.
Yeah. This is like Sicilian.
And now there comes the main point. Yeah. Rook e3. And why can't do this? I mean, he's so free to just bring the pieces.
This is like straight out of Vukovic's book. This type of position for white.
Oh, this one is him.
Is it?
Oh, you recognize the game?
No, I don't. But this is.
I don't know.
No, I don't know if it's in the book, but I don't mean literally. But I mean these positions are like in the art of the attack is straight up the knight on e5. Yeah, a rook lift.
Bring the pieces to the attack.
Yeah, this is like.
It might be, but to be fair, this one is almost in every book that treats the IQP at some point.
Okay.
and it also deserves a spot in Vukovic's book. This one is a very well-known classic. Botvinnik Vidmar, the other game I put here, is also very well-known. And both have the same theme. I mean, black puts absolutely no pressure on d4 in an IQP position, and I don't know, it's just really easy to bring the pieces to the attack because you don't have to babysit the pawn. Even if black somehow gets a good blockade, then what? I mean, we will have all our pieces looking at that poor king. In your game, it wasn't as dramatic because he didn't have as many pieces. I mean, you had managed to exchange a couple of them. But having some pressure on the pawn, or at least aiming at putting pressure on it, makes sense because it ties down your opponent and his pieces are less active, which is your main concern when you play against an IQP. You want your opponent's pieces to be as passive as possible because then the pawn tends to be weak. Or its weakness tends to act up more quickly. And well, there are many nasty threats. The first one is probably bishop takes, followed by bishop takes and queen h5. I know, just to illustrate, let's say black plays a slow move. I think we're just getting all our pieces.
Should even just queen h5, yeah.
And we're mating on the h5.
Yeah.
And mate. Unfortunately for him, there's no room to play any of this. I mean, no time. I mean,
yeah. This is an attacking player's dream here.
Yeah. G6 was played then.
That's so hard to stomach, like those dark squares.
It's pretty common though. I mean, the problem is that white has so many pieces attacking the king. I mean, it's quite a common reaction, for example, after the battery, because you can't really play h6. So you play g6, but at the same time, you organize some play in the center. Here, the rook is already landing on g3, h3, and actually, rook g3 is very strong. As the pressure on g6 is quite strong. So white is planning sacrifices already.
I would never consider rook g3.
Black went for rook c. Rook g3. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was just looking at knight g4 instead of rook g3.
Oh, but isn't that too many exchanges? Takes?
I'm not sure. I was looking at it. So like knight g. He has an intermezzo of taking on e3. I was thinking of bishop.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I was thinking of knight g4. Knight takes g4 and then bishop takes e7. But yeah, I didn't see rook e3.
Oh, good. There is this. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so well, we can't pull the trigger so fast. Yeah, it's instructive, the comment by Kim, because this is annotated by him. He says he fears this the most, like putting immediate pressure on d4. And against bishop h6, maybe it's interesting to just play queen takes d4 and sacrifice the exchange. Not bad. I mean, if bishop h6 here, he'll just go queen takes and play down the exchange. He'll have the pair of bishops. I don't know. It's probably good for white, maybe, but it's a way to get rid of the attack and have some compensation, I guess. But the main point is that, yeah, you got to attack this. You can't just blockade the pawn and hope everything is going to be fine. Well, black keeps playing on the queen side. Too late here, though. a3, there's a reason for this now. After nice e6, the tactics begin. But how?
I mean, I see like the obvious move, but I'm trying to make it work.
Like the sack?
Yeah. Oh no, I was looking at knight f7. I was trying to make knight f7 work, but I was having trouble. And then
because
bishop
he's
g6.
defending g6.
Well, yeah, I was looking then bishop g6 and hg. I was trying to get something going after that, but yeah, having trouble with that. But you highlighted knight g6, the g6 square, so I'm looking at that now.
A double sacrifice.
Okay, so let's say hg and bishop g, fg, rook g,
hg,
and then king h7.
Yeah, but there's the problem though. H takes, bishop takes, f takes. You don't need to take right away. I mean, you like the queen there instead of the rook. Can we make that happen? Oops, sorry, that was a misclick.
I'm more just seeing if there's ways for him to stop it. So if I play, okay, so if I play queen c7, or sorry, queen c2, and then king h7.
Oh, but you have two pieces there, like you're gonna take and checkmate.
Well, I'm looking at hg, bishop takes g5, and then f. Yeah. Then f takes. Yeah. No, but then f takes g5, And then, oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So queen c2, not queen d3, because oh yeah, because I didn't want queen d3 because I was scared of knight e5. It seemed unnecessary. So queen c2 or queen b1.
Good. That's really good. Interestingly, queen c2, there's also knight e5.
Why? So we take. I mean, we did sacrifice two pieces. So yeah. Okay. So
knight e4 and the pin is.
Yeah. Or even bishop e4, right?
Yeah, it could be. At least it's unnecessary. Queen b1 just avoids all that stuff, and now there's nothing. You just enter in here and. Well, black tried it anyways, but 94 we just take the knight. But there's nothing against queen takes g6. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
Knight takes. Yeah, we're just a couple of moves away from getting all the pieces there. Well, black tried king h7, but that just runs into knight f6 right away. Check, and well, soon to be checkmate. Well, the game actually ended with checkmate, which is odd, but
Tony probably thought he deserved it, right?
Yeah,
to show it. Yeah,
he was generous enough to allow the checkmate to appear on the board.
Interesting. I don't see that's.
So yeah,
that's like the first game I think I've seen of Raymond Keane.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I know he's a prolific author, but I don't think I've ever seen one of his games.
Well, this is his game. I mean, I haven't seen much of him either. I mean, I might have seen some other game I don't even remember, but this one is like his immortal game because of the opponent too, I guess. And it's spectacular, and he wins it against Miles. So, yeah, I don't think it gets better than that. But yeah, the reason was that Miles, didn't get to put any pressure on the IQP, and White really had a free hand to bring all the pieces.
Yeah, the knight b4 move I think was kind of sketchy too. I wonder if he was okay before knight b4.
Yeah, I think it's fairly standard. I mean, if instead he goes for the typical plan with b6, it looks like a fairly standard IQP position. Like b6 right here. This is probably it. This is more or less fine. But yeah, knight b4, I mean, it's quite common as a maneuver, but I don't know. Here it feels like black has nothing, and it takes like a million years to bring the pieces to useful squares and actually put some pressure on the queen side, because this plan is just too fast, building up the battery and already attacking here. Well, White got there a lot faster, honestly. And that's the danger with just focusing on blockading the pawn. I mean, it can be fine, but at the same time, you're just risking being slaughtered on the king side. You didn't go through that risk in your game because there were less minor pieces, but at the same time, he wasn't feeling the hit. Like, he could maneuver the pieces around, and he was more or less fine for a good amount of time. I'm not so convinced though about his minority attack. Interestingly, sometimes it just left some weaknesses behind, like c6 and the pawns themselves, like the pawn on b5 when he played a5. So it may not be so such a great idea. I mean, playing that minority attack in that situation where he chose to go for it. Typically, what the side with the IQP does is centralize all the pieces and try to probe for weaknesses. So, you play g3, like he tries to make you play g3 though. Also, I mean, Yeah, it's a very maneuvery position. It kind of was, but you had many chances. Even though you didn't have such strong pressure. And for example, Queen D4, I think it was a nice idea because you had all your pieces on D5 all of the sudden, and that kind of tied him down completely.
Or Queen F4 instead of Knight F4.
Yeah, it's changed the queens. It was great because you also had a lot of pressure immediately on D5, and that really limits the activity of the side with the IQP. But yeah, I mean, that's why I thought it was a very interesting game, even though it was a bit boring. There was a lot of depth to it in a way.
Yeah. There were a lot more knight maneuvering in round 3. I played knight d6 3 times.
Oh, that one will be interesting.
Yeah, I played knight d6 three times in that game.
Oh, I saw that game.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that one too. Yeah. In the comments you even say I played knight d6 for a third time here, and
that went well. That game went pretty well.
Yeah.
What do you think of that game? You probably just looked at it very quickly, but do you remember it at all?
That was. Yeah, is that the one in which you win pretty smoothly?
Wait.
You didn't have any problems that one. If it's the one, I think.
Actually, no. Wait, that was round 2. That was not round 3.
Or am I confusing it with the second one?
No, that was me that confused it.
Yeah,
it's round 2.
Oh yeah, the one where he plays F4 and.
Yeah.
Oh, it's round 2. That's why I saw it.
Yeah, that's my mistake. He plays F4. He has a bishop on E3. Yeah.
Yeah, he weakened the bishop and E4 and G4 and
yeah. I like how that went though. That game.
What I really liked about that game was your decision to play bishop before and bishop takes E3.
Oh yeah, that was an easy decision. That was a
very good.
Like I made that decision very quick.
That's great.
Yeah, I want to see. I'm just going to see the score sheet. Like so, bishop.
I was impressed because it's not easy to give out the bishop like that, but you just saw.
I'm very willing to do that these days. I know before I was very, like to keep my bishop pair, but no, I totally understood that position for sure. So bishop takes c3, right? Yeah, bishop. So bishop b4. So bishop b4 took me just 2 minutes, and the bishop takes c3, not like just instantly. Yeah. So that was very straightforward. But again, but also I had already planned that when I was setting that trap earlier. Oh no, that was after. That was when I played. Yeah, no. The trap was later when I played Queen C8. But I had seen the ideas though of the weaknesses there, and was very quick to just trade off that bishop. And plus the bishop was terrible anyways because all of his pawns were on dark squares, so I had no future with that bishop.
Yeah, it's like it had already fulfilled its mission. I mean, you made him put all the pawns on dark squares, and you can part with it. You've done enough.
Yeah, we can look at that next week.
But well, I'm going to take a look at the rest of the games. That one, you really cruised in that one.
So you saw just the first 2, or did you look at any more than that?
Yeah, the first 2.
The first 2.
Yeah, I ended up picking up this one because I thought that after 4 you just won too easily. And in the opening, I mean, he played the Catalan where he plays knight c3 way too quickly, and after c takes d, like his bishop on g2 is dead. It's not the best version of a Catalan opening for him. You did really well. I mean, you basically shut the bishop in. You put your pieces on good squares, and typically your opponent made a positional blunder. You just exploited it. That was very, very, very smooth.
Yeah. So And then just to give you a preview, round three. Round three was not a high quality game. So round three was not a great game. Round four was pretty interesting. It might be the most interesting game of the tournament. I played a very aggressive older gentleman, Filipino. Yeah, it was a very aggressive game. He sacks the exchange, and he had a winning attack, but he made it the wrong way. He missed the right way to do it, which I didn't see after the game. That was a pretty interesting game. And then round five, that's the guy who prepared against me, and he played, I think, a perfect game. I think he played a perfect game. He might have had one inaccuracy, but I think he had 98% accuracy at the end. It was basically a perfect game, like top engine.
What that wasn't so.
and he got third place in the tournament, and he gained 250 points. That was round five, and then round six. Yep. Round six was a 4-hour long game, maybe longer than 4 hours. And it wasn't that many moves. It was only 71 moves, but a lot of the moves in the middle game took a long time, and that was back and forth. I missed a queen sack. That one's very wild. That one is going to take a long time to analyze. Like,
with 71 moves, there were a lot of adventures probably.
yeah, but that got wild. We'll look at those.
Good to see you've had interesting games.
Yeah, especially that one, the round. What was it? Round 4 against that Filipino. That was interesting. And that game I had prepared because I had prepared against the guy the night before. And he plays the most, in my opinion, one of two of the most aggressive, dangerous openings that I play against. It's the Grand Prix. So as white, he plays the Grand Prix. Yeah, that is super aggressive. And so I was just reviewing my lines because it's so sharp. You make one misstep and you're just completely losing. So I was reviewing my lines.
Yeah.
When I prepared against him, like, he plays this every game. Like, it's like I was very confident he was going to play it, but he played something else. He played D4 on move 1, so that really surprised me. But even though he played D4, he played very aggressively. And the funny thing about that game is I actually forgot my my prep on move. I forgot my opening repertoire on move 2. That's very rare for me. I played the wrong move on move 2.
What did I play against this?
It was a Trumpowski, and I played H6. So that was I played H6. Which is okay, but then I followed up with Bishop E7, and I get a terrible position. But yeah, when we look at that game, I think like that'll be a very interesting game to look at. And
that one.
Yeah.
There are sacrifices, a failed attack. I mean, everything.
Yeah. So if you thought the game 1 was interesting, these other ones would be very interesting. Yeah. And I mean, and it was a bad. It was.
What can I say? I like positional slow games.
Right. Yeah. Do I have any other positional slow games? No, it was just game 2. Although that was a positional fast game.
Game 2 was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a positional crash. Yeah, that was.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will let you.
So maybe we'll take a look at that game next week. What do you think?
Oh,
Or do you want to
Well, by then,
we'll see.
By then, I'll have I'll be up to round 5 by then. So, yeah.
All right. So we can do up to that game easily.
Yeah. Because I finished looking through all the games, and And so now I'm just recording the videos. So, and I'll put out a new video every 2 days. So I should be up to about round 5 by then. Round 4 or round 5. Yeah.
Awesome. So we got you aggressive games.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you again. And so lessons to learn from today. So don't just blindly blockade the pawn. Or the isolated pawn. I was trying to attack it, and then, but at some point I took my eyes off the pawn. I lost because of a tactical, a mistake, like G3, missing G5. I shouldn't have worried about knight G4, knight takes F2, because that would have favored me. I have all the activity in that position. There were more ways to keep more pressure on the isolated queen pawn. Really try to focus and target that down.
Yeah, sorry. Interestingly, you lost when you tried to attack the pawn. Like G3, knight E3 was the plan, and
I just a tactical miss. And what can I say? I mean, my opponent played very well too, so that had a big part of it. He didn't really give me much room to work with, right? So
when you missed, he found all the moves.
So that's okay. I will let you go, and I guess I will see you next week then.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Take care. I'll see you on Monday. Bye bye.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so nobody in the stream. I think I saw a few people join at one point, but nobody said anything. But this will, of course, be on YouTube for people to enjoy later. I'm not going to continue with the stream right now just because I'm tired. I'm really tired. So I'm too tired to play any games. But yeah, again, hopefully that lesson with Alessandro was entertaining and educational, and we learned some more of how to deal with an isolated queen's pawn. That's going to be it for me tonight. I plan to stream again tomorrow and play some games, get back into the rhythm of things. And yeah, a few hours ago I posted round 2 from my tournament, so feel free to watch that if you like. And that's going to be it for me.